This agenda is being shoved down everyone's throat, and people like Chris Minns and Tony Burke and many others in the government seem to want to berate and slander anyone who even so much as suggests that immigration levels are too high, because we need to protect the social cohesion in our vulnerable multicultural societies. They are even passing laws that violate free speech in order to protect multiculturalism. So that's why it's so important for us to stand here today and give a patriotic display to show these cowards in the government what real Australians think. Because this is our country and we have a right to stand up and say enough is enough. When I walk around Australian cities and suburban areas today, it doesn't feel like the country I grew up in anymore. I always hear foreign languages and foreign people stare at me with hostility. Certain suburbs have been completely overrun with enclaves of certain demographics that are incompatible with Australian culture and ways. We see them create huge families and then use our welfare system to their advantage. It's becoming increasingly obvious that many of them have no intention of assimilation. In fact, it seems like they want to dig in and expand. It is almost every day now we see stories in the news and on social media about immigrant violence on the streets and on people's private properties. Melbourne is being hit worse than the other states. However, the rest of us will not be far behind. We can also see this trend happening in other Western countries such as the UK, Canada, USA and most of Europe. The United Nations have a report on something called replacement migration. It is basically the idea of demographically replacing the founding stock of a host nation under the guise of economic stimulus due to declining birth rates. There is a clear global agenda to shame, beat down and replace people with Anglo-Celtic and European heritage. They want to turn our homeland into a multicultural economic zone that is completely conflicting with what the founders of this nation or what our ancestors had in mind for what they wanted to inherit to us. National identity is a very important concept. If the founding stock of Australia becomes demographically replaced, will it still remain Australian? No! Whether you like it or not, Australia is a British nation. The people who found it, settled it and built it have Anglo-Celtic European blood, and they built it for the Anglo-Celtic European people to inherit. People ask, what is Australian culture? Or define Australian culture in one word. Or Aussie culture is just drinking beer and beating your wife, which is anti-white racism, by the way. We hear this rhetoric a lot from the far left who want to erase our culture and heritage by vandalising statues, among other things. Australian culture definitely cannot be defined in a single word, and it's something that every Australian naturally feels within them. Australian culture is a unique concept, and it's a way of life that boils down to the way we talk, our language and dialogue, the way we look, the way we dress, our work ethic, our building style, our behaviour, our food, our music, our arts. Much of our culture flows downstream directly from our British European heritage, but the unique Australian culture can only be found here. It's not something that can be worn or acted, it's just the way we are. Iconic snapshots of Australian culture that I can think of off the top of my head are the Gold Rush, the Eureka Stockade, the Victorian era architecture, any Australian band that you may enjoy, sheep farming, sheep shearing, wood chopping, hunting, camping, fishing, boating, surfing, cricket, footy, mullets, cattle farming, cattle dogs, kangaroos, our accent, our slang and our sense of humour. All All of this is part of Australian culture, and the list would go on and on and on. We, the people of Australia, are the Australian culture. It is within us. The reason why so many people from all over the world want to come here is because we have built such a wonderful country on the back of our unique and innovative culture. If we had no culture, they wouldn't want to come here. There is no magic soil that makes this country great, it's the people in it. So if we keep bringing in foreigners, it will no longer be Australian and our culture will be eroded. We are told that the people coming into our country are minorities. However, many bodies of research would suggest that white Europeans are actually less than 10% of the world's population. Every other race of people have their own ethnic homeland, but the only ones who have to share their homelands with the rest of the world are European countries, who only make up less than 10% of the world's population, maybe 12%. The idea that we have to help the minorities is a complete farce. Australians have enough problems of our own to deal with before we think about importing more foreign problems. We have homeless people everywhere, a housing crisis, suicide rates through the roof. Australia does not need any more immigration. Enough is enough. Today we stand together as Australian patriots and we say it's okay to fight for your culture and heritage. It's okay to protect our children's future. It's okay to criticise the government's invasive immigration policies. It's okay to want to be around people who look like you and talk like you. It's okay to stand up for your people and fly your flag. It's okay to want your kids to grow up in a society where they're not minorities in their classrooms. It's okay to not want to compete against foreigners just to get into the rental market or the workforce. We must fight this fight, not just for ourselves, but for our kids, our grandkids, and our grandkids' grandkids. Just like our ancestors did for us when they built the greatest country in the world in less than 200 years. Australia is absolutely worth fighting for, and it is worth protecting our people, our heritage and our unique culture. Before I start introducing and bringing up the other speakers, I just want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank Beck Freedom. She's an absolute legend who has been put through hell for this event. I want to thank March for Australia website owners Hugo Ozpill and his friend for the promotion and logistics. I want to thank all the people on social media who backed us up and supported this event, and I want to thank all the other state organisers who have put their necks on the line for this event and have been publicly scrutinised by the media. They are all great patriots. Thank you.